What's up, guys? Rick here with my top 5 sleepers for this week's Open Championship. These are golfers a little bit further down the board that I think are worth a second, maybe third look to enter into your fantasy lineups or maybe make some type of wager on. If you can't get enough content, good for you. There's a lot more coming, including 3 different live chats this week. Wednesday, 3 p.m. Eastern time on the Rick Run Good YouTube channel. That is your standard Open Championship flagship live chat show. Questions, answers, weather, whatever you want to talk about, that time is yours. 8:15 p.m. Eastern time on Wednesday, same place, Rick Run Good YouTube channel. That is your Jock Market Power Hour. All things stock market DFS, plenty of money to be made there this week, even after the tournament starts. And then, of course, the Cut Sweat Show on Friday, tentatively scheduled for 2 p.m. Eastern time on the Rick Run Good YouTube channel. That is a data-driven look at what the cut line is going to be, who is going to make it, and how that is going to impact your lineups for the weekend. That is definitely subject to change in terms of time because of the schedule that we have this week. Lots of overnight golf being played across the pond, lots of things going on. So make sure that you're subscribed and getting notified when I do indeed go live. But for now, let's talk through some sleepers for this week's Open Championship. Let's start with Branden Grace. He is 80-1 and $7,200 on DraftKings, and there's certainly a lot to like. His win earlier this year came at the Puerto Rico Open, which, while there is no other correlation to Royal St. George's, is at least a place that can get very, very windy. Good sign for this championship, a championship that Grace has played pretty well at over the course of his career. He's only missed the cut one time in his last 7 trips, including a 6th place finish in 2017. And if you look at his form leading into this event, a 4th place finish at the Memorial, a 7th place finish at the US Open in his last 2 measured starts, gaining strokes in nearly every single category across the board. Really interesting way to deploy Branden Grace this week. Would be both in your fantasy lineups and maybe a top 10, a top 20 bet if you're feeling really frisky and outright. But Branden Grace, certainly something that someone you should be diving deeper into and seeing if he's a good fit for your card. Alex Noren, same price as Branden Grace, $7,200, but $150-1 to win this event. And I'm actually pretty happy that he missed the cut last week because he had been piling up top 25 finishes, and maybe this keeps his ownership in check this time around. He just missed a playoff at the Rocket Mortgage Classic a couple of weeks ago, and he's been phenomenal at the Open Championship. His last 3 starts, 11th, 17th, and 6th. This is a guy who is more reliant on the short game than most golfers, but that's okay in this scenario, and he has actually been much better off the tee recently. So Alex Noren certainly checking a lot of boxes for me leading into this event. It might be difficult to watch at times. It might be a bit volatile, but I think he is certainly someone who can contend and make plenty of noise. Robert MacIntyre is $7,300, and he is 100-1 to win this golf tournament. And he is someone that I think we don't know a whole lot about. And sometimes that's a good thing. This kind of unknown entity plays a lot on the European Tour. He has played well over there. An 18th place finish at the Scottish Open last week, a T8 at the Betfred British Masters a couple of weeks ago. We have seen him pop at times to talk about the match play or the Omega Dubai Desert Classic. He's been piling up a lot of really good finishes and has only missed 1 cut this calendar year anywhere in the world. I think he's going to be more volatile than most. He's young. I think he's only 24 years old. He's going to continue to figure out what his game is, whether he is going to play well on these links style courses. But for someone who's the 53rd ranked player in the world, who's playing well right now, I think this is more than a fair opportunity to consider him for your betting card or your fantasy lineups. Lucas Herbert is 100-1 and $6,800 on DraftKings. And this is, to me, a really good sleeper play. He is not only playing well at the moment, finished fourth at the Scottish Open last week. The week before that on the European Tour at the Irish Open, yeah, he won that. He also won an event early in 2020. So he's been in the winner's circle now twice in the last, call it 18 months or so. And remember, his tour essentially got shut down for even longer than the PGA Tour did. So that's not that many starts. When he has come over here to play on the PGA Tour, he's played well. Travelers Championship, we saw him just recently, top 20 there. Top 20 also at the Memorial. So we have a golfer who is starting to really show his chops worldwide. He's playing well across the board, and I think he's a really good option to come out of this lower range and contend. I mean, when they get confidence, these guys can certainly play all over the world. I'm stoked for Lucas Herbert. He's the 49th player in the world. Let's go. And we have to talk about Sam Burns. It doesn't make me happy to have to do this, but he's $6,300 on DraftKings, which is very much an obvious misprice. Whether you choose to go with it or not, that's another thing. But he is 80-1 to win this golf tournament at most sports books. If you look around for some of the other guys who are 6,300, Ernie Els, 350-1, Darren Clark, Jason Scrivener, Chan Kim, Sam Burns, head and shoulders above the other names, probably within $1,000 of his price. He has won on tour this year. He has not played well at major championships, but he has played well on the PGA Tour. He probably should have won a couple of more times. So we have a really interesting play, a guy that just finished 13th at the Travelers Championship the last time we saw him. He played well enough at the Scottish Open last week. It's a misprice. Are you going to play him? I think you should strongly consider it. And if you do, find ways to differentiate across the board. But this would not be a sleeper show if there was not a guy who was so obviously a value. And golf's a weird sport. You know, could miss the cut just as much as some of these other guys. But I think over time, if you run this 1,000 times, you'd be pretty happy with the results from Sam Burns. So $6,300 on DraftKings. Godspeed. Good luck. Honorable mentions to Stuart Sink, honorable mentions to Taylor Gooch, but we'll settle on those 5 being my favorite. Lots more content to come this week. Let me know who I missed, who I should have left off at RickRunGood, or leave a comment below. Best of luck this week, and I'll talk to you guys soon.